When your thyroid is hyperthyroidism. Have you been told that your thyroid is hyperthyroidism? Or perhaps you have Graves' disease and you are wondering what it means, what the symptoms are, what the causes are, and the natural things that you can do to help? Let's discuss the reasons why this happens, things to consider, and some tips. Hello, I am so thrilled to be here. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Michelle Cooke, period and hormone naturopath, natural fertility educator, or menstrual cycle charting educator, and emotional release technique practitioner, or ERT practitioner. I help women struggling with their menstrual cycles have easy, pain free periods, balanced hormones, and emotional well-being. And I'm the founder and director of Reproductive Wellness. I see patients both online and face to face. If you have any questions or comments, please pop them down below for me, and I'd be more than happy to answer them for you. What does having hyperthyroidism actually mean? So, your thyroid is a really cute butterfly shaped endocrine or hormone producing gland that sits in your neck. So, it's found in your neck. It has several important jobs in the body. It is an overarching controller of metabolism. So, think things like regulation of body weight, body temperature, digestive capacity, also bone health, brain function, heart rate, and it's vital for reproductive health and girly hormones and hormone balance in that respect. When you have hyperthyroidism, this means that your thyroid gland is actually over functioning. What diseases have hyperthyroidism? So, number one, so this is probably the top reason for when you've got hyperthyroidism, it's usually due to this disease, Graves' disease. So, as I said, this is the most common reason, with more than 70% of people having this issue. It is an inflammatory autoimmune disease, and there are two undesirable issues here. Sorry. So, the body produces too much thyroid antibodies, so particularly thyroid receptor antibodies, or I like to refer to it as TRAB, just for short. And these attack the TSH receptor, which results in an enlargement of the thyroid gland. And as a result, the thyroid overproduces thyroid hormones. So our thyroid hormones are T4 and T3. Okay. Quite often, TPO and TGAB antibodies can also be high as well in this disease. Number two, thyroid adenoma. So, this is a benign or non cancerous thyroid nodule that overproduces thyroid hormone. Number three, toxic multinodular goiter or plumber disease. It's the same thing, it's just a different name. The thyroid gland is enlarged. So, again, there's goiter. That's what an enlarged thyroid gland is referred to as, with usually multiple nodules which produce too much thyroid hormone. Number four, some thyroid cancers, or the kind of technical name for this is known as carcinomas. Number five, Hashimoto's thyroiditis. So, this one is interesting. So, I'll explain a little bit further about this one. So, Hashimoto's thyroiditis, or Hashimoto's disease, is an autoimmune condition of the thyroid. So, typically, this will present with hypothyroidism, so the opposite of hyperthyroidism. So hyperthyroid, remember that's overfunctioning, whereas hypothyroid is an underactive thyroid, so it's actually underfunctioning. For the majority of people, they'll present with this underactive thyroid, so hypothyroid. However, in some individuals, there will actually be a swinging of the thyroid from hypo, so underactive, to hyperthyroidism, which is overfunctioning. So, not in all cases, but in some, there will be that pendulum swing from that hypo to the hyper and then back to the hypo. What are the symptoms of hyperthyroidism? So there's many. Nervous system issues, so poor sleep, irritable, anxiety, restless, tremors, fatigue. Period issues, so there can be light periods, irregular periods. They can be amenorrhea, which means that your periods have gone missing in action. Metabolism issues, so weight loss, even though you might have a normal or increased appetite, not tolerating heat very well, and muscle wasting. Eye issues, so they can be poor vision, they can be double vision, which is referred to as diplopia. There's eyes that protrude, so that's referred to as exophthalmos. There can be pain in the eyes, or the eyes are very sensitive or intolerant to light, which is known as photophobia. And there can also be gritty eyes as well. Urinary issues. So there can be polydipsia, which means excessive thirst. There can be polyuria when your body produces too much urine and you have to do a wee all the time. Digestive issues, they can be diarrhea, because remember things are over functioning. Or maybe there's not necessarily diarrhea, but there's an urgency there and there's a frequency there. Thyroid issues, that includes enlarged thyroid. Remember, this is referred to as a goiter. Musculoskeletal, so there can be back pain. Cardiovascular, so there can be edema, which is swelling. There can be chest pain. There can be trouble breathing after exercising, and there can be heart palpitations as well. Other symptoms as well can include things like facial flushing and warm and moist skin. What are the causes and contributing factors of hyperthyroidism? So, number one is genetics. So, there are particular genes that make you more susceptible to having things like Hashimoto's thyroiditis or Graves' disease. And just because you have this genetic potential doesn't mean that you're actually going to express that genetic potential. It just depends on the way that you live your life, what you're exposed to, as to whether this disease will actually present or not. Number two is multinodular goiter or toxic nodules. So these nodules or lumps in the thyroid gland, they actually result in the thyroid producing too much of the thyroid hormones, so things like T4 and T3. Number three, thyroiditis. So this is literally meaning inflammation of the thyroid gland, because any itis means inflammation. So this happens due to an issue with the immune system or from a virus that results in a temporary hyperthyroidism state. Number four, postpartum thyroiditis. So this is when there's an inflammation of the thyroid gland that is happening after having a baby. Number 5, too much iodine. So this could be from supplements, it could be from food or from medication, which results again in an overproduction of thyroid hormones. Number 6, gut issues. So there can be undesirable inhabitants in the gut. In particular, there can be bacteria and parasites. So there might be overgrowth of bacteria that normally live there, or there might be new kids on the block that don't typically live in your gut. There can be leaky gut. So this is when the lining of your digestive tract is actually inflamed. And things are actually passing through into the into the bloodstream that shouldn't be there, and it's overwhelming the immune system. Okay. Poor digestive capacity. So you're not digesting and breaking down foods properly or as well as you should be, and as a result, there's poor elimination. Number 7, environmental toxins. So they can be heavy metals, in particular things like cadmium and mercury. Toxic household items, so things like cleaning products, hair dyes, personal care items. Food-based exposure, so they can be herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, additives, preservatives, colors, etc. Outdoor toxins, so they can be things like pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, and agricultural runoff as well. Natural ways to actually help with Graves' disease. So there's many things that we can do here to help with Graves' disease or states of hyperthyroidism. But I'd like to mention 2 tips for you today that you can implement straight away. So number 1, lippy disaster. So did you know that some of the commercially available lipsticks actually contain mercury? Mercury is a heavy metal, okay? So if it's on your lips and you go to lick them, it's going to go straight into your body. Yikes. So heavy metals are a contributing factor for Graves' disease. Heavy metals will affect the thyroid by interrupting normal thyroid hormone production, the general function, and will contribute to inflammation as well. They also impact gut health too, resulting in inflammation, damage to the lining. So that's things like leaky gut, which I mentioned before, and it alters our gut bacteria or our microbiome. So this places a big burden on our immune system, and it's a contributing factor for autoimmune disease and conditions and high thyroid antibodies. But don't fear, you actually still can dress up those pasty lips of yours with a natural lipstick from a health food store. That's free from heavy metals and other nasties that are often contained in there too. So some good brands that I would recommend are Karen Morel, Hanami, Antipodes, Inica, Eco Sonia, and Eye of Horus. Number 2, something fishy. So an anti-inflammatory approach to your diet is crucial to actually help maintain the inflammation in this scenario, okay? And to help manage the high thyroid antibodies that are taking place here. So fish contains omega-3, which is a great anti-inflammatory for the body. I find that most people in general don't eat enough fish. I find this time and time again. And I would focus on eating fish at least 3 times a week. So including these oily fish that are low in mercury levels would be a great idea. So things like trout, snapper, herring, halibut, anchovies, salmon, sardines, and perch, for example. So they are some of the many, many suggestions that can be on offer. I love talking about the thyroid. It's probably one of my favorite things to treat as well. There's just so much that can be done. So, a naturopath is actually a really good option to assist with hyperthyroidism and Graves' disease because there are endless natural medicines, both herbal medicine and nutritional medicine, dietary and lifestyle suggestions that can assist with things like the inflammation, helping with your symptoms, reducing thyroid antibodies, managing thyroid hormone production, supporting your gut. Remember, that's a big element here. Treating any nutrient deficiencies and addressing any contributing factors according to your specific presentation. Plus, we can look into functional testing. So, these are tests that are not commonly done by a GP. And it includes things like a gut microbiome map, which will look at the state of your gut. So it will look at inflammatory markers, immune capacity, hormone detoxification capacity, and whether you have any infections. It's going to look at things like viral, bacterial, fungal, and parasitic infections, which are contributing factors towards any type of thyroid disease, but also hypothyroid states or Graves' disease. So, if you would like support with hyperthyroidism or Graves' disease, I would love to help you. So, go ahead and book an appointment. If you're watching on Instagram, there's a link in my bio. If you're watching on YouTube, there is a link in the description. If you're watching on my website, there is a link down below for you to go ahead and book an appointment. So, FYI, I'll be uploading a video each and every week talking about women's health, periods, hormones, and menstrual cycles. So make sure that you stay tuned for the next video. And thank you so very much for watching. If you're watching on my YouTube channel, be sure to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any future videos. Thank you so much. Have a good evening. Bye.